So, with that, the objective again here is driving business. And we want everybody to take away something that will help them each and every time. So with that, Eric, why don't you kick us off and get started?
Wonderful. I appreciate it, Thomas. Well, I want to stay first off. I'm not sure I'll stay on track. I think we'd like this to be interactive. If you guys want to jump in, by all means. At the same time, as Thomas said, the driving force between what both of our firms really are organized to do is to help our clients drive better results. And essentially, I'm more in the world of marketing, whereas Thomas is more on the world of sales and executive revenue generation. But on either front, something that we found as we were brainstorming for this, really connects the dots for both organizations. And I would think everybody on the line is that your messaging on anything you do, regardless of what channel you're talking about, really has a direct tie through to your revenue. And the results of our businesses all surround the idea of how well do we communicate who and what we are. And so as for my own company, we're VisionFriendly.com. We've been in business in the Naperville area since 1998, and over those 22 years that we've been designing and marketing for the web in this area, we've learned a lot of tips and tricks for driving better results. And so it's something that my background personally is in design, and I, for many, many years, was focused on making everything really look appealing and have that shine and polish to it. And as I've learned more and done more in the world of marketing, I've come to the realization that the design background that I hail from is not always the answer. Oftentimes, the way the messaging is constructed and the narrative that you put together has a much greater impact on your end results than anything else you can do. So a business is looking to increase their ROI. You're going to get something out of this discussion. And after 22 years, the reason why we're still here, the reason why we still have some of our very first customers have literally been with us for that long, is because we're not in it just for a quick churn of run a marketing campaign for somebody and then they go off somewhere else. We work with our clients and keep testing until we know that we found an ROI solution that works for their particular audience. So let's jump right into it. Especially with COVID times, your business, your website becomes your salesperson. It is a virtual sales rep for your company. And, the better it says your messaging and it says what your audience is looking to know, and the faster it does that, the better. But oftentimes we find we come into sites, and as this little example I have up here, it's got a shiny car, it's got a shiny design to it, but there's no clear indicator of what they do or what their specialty is in the market. So it's really critical that you're clear. Clarity always wins when it comes to marketing messages. So and it's not anyone's fault that we do this, but everybody is just adverse to advertising. So we're trying to take mental shortcuts and get right to the point as fast as we can. And that presents a certain type of behavior that we can work around once we acknowledge it. This originally came from a survival skill. When we were still hunters and gatherers, we see a lion out on the plains, and our brain makes a very quick assessment and quick decision that that's a predator. I'm going to run back into the cave. And, now we use that same mental process to say, that's an ad. I'm going to skip over it. And, especially growing up in the 80s, we're all jumping for the clicker to hit the mute button as quick as we can. This type of behavior has become conditioned. So when we're marketing and trying to be clear about what our company's message is, we have to find ways to create messaging that people actually care about. And one of the tricks to do this is to put it into a story, because we all love stories. We all understand how stories are constructed in the beginning, middle, and end. And you have motives, and you get to watch your hero change over time. The same approach actually works really well when it comes to saying what you do. So to drive more business, you need to rethink the message. So it really comes down to the basics of sales. And I hate to do this, but we got to go really back to the beginning and look at it as, if you had a sales rep that you were training onto your business, you would have them put together their elevator speech. You would have them put together their key points for what it is that that you want to present. And the reason you do this is because we know that you're presenting to a panel of jaded judges. And what I mean by jaded judges, it's that same allergy to being advertised to. Nobody wants to be sold. So when we are constantly dodging this, how do you get that advertising in front of them and make it hit home? You have to make them have a intrinsic connection to what you're saying. And so like for today's event, we're tying it back to generating results and generating revenue, and that's something that we all intrinsically want. So there's a motivator to drive us through. And so the problem with moving onto the web is that we all become actually a little bit more adverse, and this tendency becomes more apparent. So the design is critical to make it feel professional. I've got my little branded iconography throughout this presentation, but the messaging inside is really where the rubber hits the road. So to get to this, how well do you know your audience? What matters to them? Are they looking for a quick answer? And what is that question that they're asking as they come in? Do you answer that question about what products or services they seek? And what problems do you solve like no one else? And is that baked into everything you do? So anytime somebody comes to visit your website, looks at one of your brochures, pulls out your business card, they have one question in the back of their mind: why should I choose you? And as Thomas's approach very much resonates with, answer that question directly and immediately, and you'll find that you win a lot more business.
Yeah, I would jump in and just say, if you go back to that first screen there, just think about yourself. When you're out there, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, or whether you're going to, do a Google search or some kind of search out there, how fast do you leave different sites? How fast are they gone? Something's got to catch their eye. Something's got to resonate internally to them for this to work. And that's where Eric and I are thinking alike. It's that, what's in it for me? What's my benefit? That they're looking for when they're doing any kind of pre-searching or searching or looking around out there on the internet. You've got to get them quickly.
And it's all about that unique approach too. I mean, one of the things that I found, especially with my industry, is that it is a go-to for entrepreneurs. There's a ton of marketers out there, and they're all saying the same thing. We can optimize your site. We can make it produce more. We can make it, drive more results. And to me, the question really becomes how long do their customers stay around? What is their ROI on their customers? And what is the approach? Because with ours, it's very much, we get in and act like we're your marketing team, as if you would hired us on as employees of your company. I want to know the whole backstory. I want to know everything there is to know about why your customers stay with you. And that usually is, you pull that thread and you find that there's a reason behind that if you package that into your marketing, you're going to win a lot more business. So, and it's unfortunately all down to speed, because as Thomas said, most people hit the site, you get maybe 2 or 3 clicks out of them, and if you haven't presented this narrative by that point, they're gone. They're back to the search engine and going with somebody else. So it comes down to presenting things in a very short order. And so when we look at the effectiveness of this virtual sales rep, the content strategy has to be giving short snippets to start with, and then as you draw them in, you can start giving longer and longer pieces of content. But you wouldn't put a whole paragraph of text right at the top of the page. The reason hero graphics usually have a very small message on them is because you only have so much attention span at that point. So something we've done since day one, I built up this design team, was going through and doing what we refer to lovingly as the 5-second test. So what we do is I literally would have my designers put together their prototype, pull it up on screen, look at it for 5 seconds, and close it again, and tell them, here's what my takeaways were from it, and that kind of reveals to you what the make or break moment is for skimming over a site. And so I want to have you guys do that here with me on the call, and I'm going to pull up a couple example sites. I'll be looking for you guys to throw out examples that we can evaluate on the fly here as well. So first and foremost, I wanted to give you before and after. So this is a customer that came to us actually last year at the beginning of the pandemic, and had a site that I'm going to show you here right away. And in 5 seconds, we'll see what you guys can take away from this critique. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start the counter here, and go ahead and do an evaluation as it kind of scrolls through. And there we go. So in that time, which is again more than the average time most users spend on a homepage, what came across?
So this is the interactive part, folks.
By all means.
We would love to hear from you. So kill that mute button and tell us what you think.
Do they sell? I thought that perhaps they sold guitars just by that initial glance.
Okay.
Yeah, at the beginning I saw like same guitars, just that. Then I saw the cases. I'm like, oh, maybe it's cases. And then like when they were scrolling down, I saw safety or word like that. I'm like, okay. Then there's cases, but I don't know like the quality. And I looked into a photo, and then that was like 5 seconds.
Yep, I love doing this because it gives you a real sense for how quick that really is. So again, the ultimate deal here, what we're trying to do is in that 5 second span, ask what they do, how they're better, and what do you do to start. And so I'm gonna show you now a quick glance at the redesign of the site. And I will say this, one thing that redesigning and making your graphics look fresh does is it can elongate that attention span, as well as adding background video to your homepage can also elongate people's attention span and get them to understand more of your message. Lisa, did you want to jump in with a commentary?
Oh, thanks, Eric. I had just raised my hand to agree. It looked like they are manufacturers of guitar cases, and from some of those close-up shots, my first impression would be that they're trying to convey a sense of craftsmanship and high quality.
Okay, not bad at all. All right, so now I'm going to reveal the redesign after they came back and had my team rework their site. And so here we go. So this is the new version of Hoffy Cases. And there's actually more to the site, but that is about it. So did you get a little bit more of a sense for what they have to offer in that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since the beginning, like the same, just like at the beginning with the phrase on the side with durability is like, okay, this is like what I'm already looking at.
I think somebody else said something. I didn't catch it.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Thanks, Eric. Carbon fiber, that's what they make McLarens out of. That's
Yep.
super. I saw the word durability. Obviously, it's going to last forever, and it's a high quality, probably very costly material, but it's protecting something very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to say part of that message is saying it's worth the price you pay. You know, that's subliminally in there into trying to hold the price point for the product that they're offering. So they're trying to say, hey, the quality is high, it lasts a long time. You know, all those messages are in there as a part of getting you more money for the product.
And that's, I'm really glad you brought that up, Thomas, because the value proposition is really key. With most sales reps, one of the core training pieces is, you know, identify where you want to fall in the market. You know, so for myself, for Vision Friendly, I often state that we are middle of the road on price and top shelf on quality. So you can definitely find people that will do it cheaper than us. You can definitely find people who do it a lot more expensive than us. But I don't think you're going to find anybody that offers it at a higher quality set. And I find often when I present that idea to people, they suddenly, now I've kind of ratcheted myself into their evaluation of, okay, I know where you sit in the industry. And the value proposition is now set, and now they have a sense for where we're going to be. And this is something that, as I've trained our sales teams over the years, I found this is something that oftentimes they don't do. And so your customer walks away from the first meeting not knowing where you fall in the spectrum. And that's a really critical piece, because some people have it in mind that I want the top shelf only. That's all I'm interested in. I don't want anything that's middle of the road on quality. And I'll pay for that top shelf value, as Thomas was suggesting. And I also have customers that, I have one guy that does these high-speed milling machines, and his are half the price of anybody else in the industry, and decent quality as well. So he's selling on the flip side of that spectrum, where he comes in, and the first thing we say at the heading of his page is, high-speed mills at an affordable price. And now people know exactly where he fits. All right, so let's get into some actual nitty-gritty details of the content map. So what we're looking at here is it all comes down to perception. You can have the best story in the world, but if you don't put it together in a way that makes logical sense, if you tell the middle of the story first and the beginning of the story in the middle, people get confused, and as soon as we get confused, we bow out. And this is, again, an efficiency process. Our mental processes are valuable. It's that you spend energy thinking about things and reading over somebody's site and trying to sort out what they're saying. And if that process becomes too laborious, we all tend to just say, I'll do it later. And maybe it ends up being one of the many, many tabs open on our browser that we intend on coming back to and reading later. Not what you want to have for your marketing pitch. So, really what it usually resolves around is, how will they remember you and how are you different? And that difference is what needs to get first billing. With Vision Friendly, our content approach is very different, and our interaction with our customers is very different, and our results are different. We're here to drive better results. So, Thomas, you want to label out the differences for CRO?
Yeah. So the point that I wanted to make on here is, well, we're looking at the quote unquote the website and what's presented there. This same thing, this same concept is critical when you're talking to people, when you're at a networking event, right? And so I brought an example. This is, if I can get that in front of the screen, it's a little cookie, right? Little hors d'oeuvre, right? And that 5-second factor, when you're at the networking event and they say, "Hi, Eric, I'm Thomas Herman." He says, "Oh, nice to meet you. What do you do?" The clock's ticking, right? I got 5 seconds. That's about half a cookie. I've got half a cookie to explain something memorable that makes me different and makes Eric want to say, "Tell me more." So the message that goes on the web, the message that comes out of your mouth, it's all got to be consistent. And this says easy, but it does hard, right? Because most people, will when they're saying, "How are you different?" right? Then they want to put it on the website, or, "Tell me more about you." And they start talking. They start talking bits and bytes, and facts and statistics, all of which can be true. Nobody cares, because to the point that Eric was just making, it forces the other person to have to translate what you just said into something meaningful for them. When that happens, they're tuning out, right? Because it can be just a little too hard to figure that out. So you've got to make it very self-evident.
Well said. And usually most people's mind do tend to resonate and hook on to ideas that are better, faster, cheaper, stronger, whatever adjective you want to throw in there, and they expect you to flaunt it. And so it shouldn't be that, the unfortunate fact is, if you come in and saying, quality and customer service are our differentiators, nobody's going to believe you. Unfortunately, it's been oversold. And over the years, everybody has quality and service as their top lines. And so now it needs to come in with something that's a little bit more innovative as far as how you approach that. Oh, sorry, that was my next bullet. You know, the cliche of quality.
And I was going to suggest that Bob's Discount Furniture is that first bullet point, right? I mean, if he's on TV around here all the time, and it's, you know, faster, cheaper, you know, you can have it as long as you pick one of his 2 colors. But that's what he sells, faster and cheaper.
Yep. In the design world, we always said, pick 2, you can't have all 3. Is the type of consultation to get working with your business different? If so, you need to define that. And you know, as I've been talking about, you know, when we get into a business, we get our head fully in the game, because I don't want to be seen as just a vendor. I want to be seen as a partner. And that is one of my differentiators. And ultimately, the baseline that we all know that has to come into play here is keep it simple. All right, so to bring some of this together and give you guys some statistics off of the reasons that all this is apparent, 90% of people will only read your headlines. Only about 10% of your audience is going to read any paragraph on your site, period. Bullet lists have about a 70% higher read rate, but you know, if you want to get the other 80%, you're gonna have, it's going to depend on the magnetism of the headlines and how clear of a narrative that puts together. Headlines affect the engagement, readability, conversions, search engine ranking, social sharing, click-throughs, all of it. And we've got statistics to back every single one of those up, that you can go into your site. And you know, a lot of people right now are coming to me saying, I want to redesign, but this year's been really hard for COVID, so can we just freshen things up? So we're just throwing some new imagery in there, some new colors, and changing their skimmable headlines. And it's actually a lot of fun to do from a marketing perspective, because it takes a lot of the other variables of redesigning out of play. And now we can see, if we just refine their message, how much more conversions we can get. And oftentimes doing things like giving more interaction. You know, we wanted this discussion today to be interactive. You know, we find that chat features are getting way more usage from the millennials and the younger audience than almost any other facet of the site. So I've got a customer that you know, had forms all over their site, but we put the chat feature up, and suddenly they're getting conversions off of that more than anywhere else.
I have a question. I don't know if so with this 90% of people who read the headline and only 10% read the paragraph, do you have any like percentage of how many people buy from those who only read the headlines and for those who read the whole page? For example, in my business, like people who scroll into like the second page of our products, 100% of those people like see everything. And we know that if people click in this part, 100% of those people will look into everything. So I guess like my question on this is like, is it worth to like focus on those 10% of people who actually read everything, or should we focus on getting like the 90% more? I don't know if that question makes sense.
Well, I might need to refine it for you a bit. I mean, I would ask, from what you said 100% of people who get to page 2 buy. So they're already buying, no?
So no. So for example, my on the website we have like a products page, but there's a second page, and we've been doing some analytics. I guess like 30% of all the people who scroll down getting to the second page, but out of the second page, everyone scrolls all the way down. Everyone sees absolutely everything, and from those we get a few sales. So now we're like thinking, okay, so should we focus more on like getting so many people to like scroll into like these first products, or get all our good products in the first page, or should we focus still like in the people like getting to the second page, because we know they're like really involved with the brand and they already know everything and they have scrolled through everything, through all the photos, so they're like more involved.
There's actually different schools of thoughts on this, Marco. That's a great question. There are some that say you should have your top sellers at the very first of the page, get those all into the carts and work on volume. You know, volume selling is kind of the target strategy there. There are others that say you want to spread them out and make sure they see your impulse buys and your other things that they might want, to make sure that they get more items in their cart and you drive up larger volume per order. So it really does depend on what you're selling, though, as to whether that makes sense. I mean, there's always psychology involved to it. My personal thought is I have some customers that will come in and they have looked through every site on my portfolio, and there's hundreds of sites on my portfolio, and they will come in with a detailed spreadsheet of their favorites ranked in chronological order, and they are just detail-oriented people by nature. And I think that's the 30% you're talking about that get all the way through the second page. They're going to do that regardless of what order things are in. It's some people just, I think, tend to go that direction. I would still say, regardless of that, that's the less than the majority of your audience. I would cater your marketing messaging to the majority. And if that means moving all your hot selling items to the front and doing related items and upsells and cross sells to make sure they see everything, then that's probably what I would recommend for you. But again, I would look to the content marketing strategy as to how well does it define why your product is better, and start there. So I'd be happy to put you in as one of the critiques a little bit later here if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
One other quick thing, it's a pet peeve of mine. I gotta have it in here just because I think it's kind of amusing as well. It drives me crazy when I go to a website and it says, "Welcome to our website." We do not have any virtual shoes to wipe. There is no need for a welcome mat. If you're going to expend a headline, make it something worthwhile. All right. Thomas, anything to add to that?
No, I thought the dialogue back and forth with Marco was good there. Let's go.
All right. So, and of course, the final piece, you have to ask for the business. And so many sites I find don't have a form. You get to the bottom of the services page, it doesn't have any button to lead you to the next step in the process, and it doesn't make the path to conversion simple. So you also have to follow your conversion path. And I literally just spent an hour before this call going through conversion pathing with a bunch of CPA organizations to help them drive their CPAs to get their certificates and all this. And these are very detailed people, kind of like what you're talking about, Marco, for the latter 30% there. And they still just, we're all prone to get overloaded and have those defense mechanisms kick up to avoid the sales smokescreen and not believe the messaging that we present, unless you present it genuinely and with what they're looking to know about you first.
And I was going to say, don't shy away from that. Ask for the business, whether it's in person, in discussions. If they know that you're selling something, right? They're on your website, they're looking to buy something, or if you're in a discussion about the services you deliver or products you deliver, they know you're selling. It's not a secret. So go ahead and ask. Yep,
you got it. So your core message, this is something that Thomas said on earlier in the call, the idea that every single piece of marketing you put out there, every phone call, every networking event, everything you do has to have a core message. And, this is kind of the why of your organization. For Apple, we all know what Apple does. They have a core message that they're going to give you really slick technology that's really intuitive to use. And regardless of whether we're talking about their MP3 player or their iPad or their computer or whatever else it is, we know that core component is always ever present in all their products. Every business needs that. And one of the problems that I think Microsoft has competing with Apple is that there isn't a core message for Microsoft, except that we're going to get updates every Wednesday.
Well, so, and to that point, I mean, with Apple, right, they're selling a lifestyle, right? They're selling a better life across the board on all their products. That's everything you see, and to that point, it doesn't come through on the Microsoft side.
Right. And it's very much the narrative I'm talking about, the the way that Apple presents themselves is that they are your guide to that lifestyle. If you buy their products, you get the sense that there's going to be a philosophical win for you at the other side, because you will have this simpler, more intuitive, more high-tech, advanced lifestyle. And whether that comes true or not is up to you, because you're the hero in the story, and their products and their brand is there as your Yoda, if you will. So for Vision Friendly, we're in the process of redesigning right now, and here's a little screen grab from one of our pages. And for us, the very core message that goes into everything we do is right there. Very first thing on our homepage: drive better results. And that applies whether we're doing a web design, whether we're optimizing a site, whether we're coming in and helping you rework your print collateral. It doesn't matter what aspect of your marketing or advertising we're doing. That's the end goal, and it's one that we can all agree we want. So that's that consistency that Thomas was talking about, having that core message that everything hooks back to, and it becomes a driving purpose. And one of the really critical pieces here is that that's not only external; that needs to be internal as well. You talk to any of the staff members at Apple, and they all have that better lifestyle philosophy at heart. They know that's why they're doing what they're doing. And employees generally will perform better and be more driven to the goal if they have a clear one in front of them as well. So the messaging is not just for sales; it's also for internal culture.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be absorbed really across the board, because it's not direct necessarily, but the person that does your shipping and receiving, that handles your front desk for reception or whatever, when they're there 8 to 5, right? They've got a job to do. But when somebody says to them, "Oh, you work for Vision Friendly? What do you do?" Right? Well, you don't want them to say, "I answer the telephone." You don't want them to say, "I do shipping and receiving." You want them to say, "Our business is about driving better results." And they can say that at the PTA meeting. You don't know where that's going to go, but if the message is consistent, everybody's going to understand it.
You got it. With that in mind, would anyone like to offer up their site for a little content evaluation?
Yes.
Yeah, we're hoping for some brave people that'll show this.
Let's see. What is your web address?
So I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat
Yes,
so
sir.
we can see it. Okay.
It's KiwamiJewelry.com.
You see that okay, Eric?
Well, hang on.
And then mine is the Renaissance Development one as well, if you have time.
Yeah, so we've got 2 of them in the chat then.
I'll put mine in too, in case you have time, Eric.
So do you see them? Do you see them,
I
Eric?
do. It just took me a minute to find which window the chat was in. Sorry about that. Okay, so the website uses cookies. I've been distracted by that. There's flower blooming here.
Yep.
Helping companies do good better. Services, feature clients, and contact. So the natural tendency is for most people to start scrolling right away. So as I scroll down, transformation. So this is waxing a little poetic for me, and it's neat, but I still don't know what to do. Sharing cultures, promoting understanding, fostering peace, furthering development. Boutique consultancy that seeks to further, and see, now I'm having to dig into your paragraph text to get anything of who you're serving and what you're trying to do. And then the only call to action here is to follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, I removed a bunch of stuff. This is a simpler version. I had a bunch of videos of sessions before. And
so can I ask you here, what do you do if you were to just put in a phrase for me?
Help companies do good better. We provide equity and inclusion training and support and DEI as well as international trade. And so my challenge was and I'm still trying to craft the language for the pitch, but really, explaining the equity and inclusion in all of those processes, international trade, tourism development, and the DEI. The focus is really, making the world better and furthering economic development for everybody, that there is enough for everybody in all of those different areas and spaces. And so I found that I had a different video that was it was more like a real estate video with different people, different ethnicities, all, happy people coming together in different images. And I decided to make it a little bit simpler. And I thought that the idea of this transformation, whether it's through trade, whether it's through training and support in DEI, could better explain that, or could be a way of thinking about social and economic transformation.
Okay.
I mean, the transformation comes through loud and clear, right? You see that with the butterfly and everything, but the actual deliverable, is still uncertain or unclear.
Yeah.
And I think you offer something that not every business owner knows they need. So you've got an additional challenge there, but you have an additional benefit in the fact that you're offering something that has a intrinsic mission that is wonderful and that everybody can get behind. So it's kind of like the lifestyle piece that Apple offers. Once they understand the narrative, they see that you're not just going to solve a supply and demand kind of process. You're also going to help benefit them on a philosophical basis, if you will. You're making the companies do good better, but the problem was defining do good. Because I didn't know what good you were referring to. And so I would definitely say, you're mostly doing consultation, yes?
Yes, whether it's trade facilitation or training with their team members, it's consulting, yeah.
So I would say right up front, consulting, trade, and I'm not familiar with DEI as a term, but consulting businesses to improve their trade and DEI processes to help improve economic balances across the world. We make transformations, and that's what's above the fold. And now your audience, at least, hopefully they're a little more educated about this than I am. They know exactly why they need you now, and what you want to have happen is by the time they've scrolled the homepage, they've gotten essentially everything you would give and that you just gave me in that 30-second discussion of what you do. That should wipe out what's on your homepage, and that should be replaced by what you said.
Yeah, the mission is right there. But I know I can see how I can get lost. The mission is on the homepage. It's Connaissance Development is a boutique consultancy that seeks to further. No, that's not it. Oh yeah, it's not there. I've written it. It's actually the last. It's not there. The way I say it is Connaissance Development is a boutique consultancy that furthers equity and inclusion through international trade, CSR, DEI, training and support, and tourism development. So it's there, but it's not. I have to figure out to make it. Maybe I should bold it. But yeah,
something.
You should pull it out and make it the primary headline.
Yeah.
Because again, no one will read this. That's that 10% of the audience that just won't see it. And while again again my background is in art and poetry's not far removed from that. I love what this says, but that is an afterthought that's kind of icing on the cake that we really need to start with the core and build up from there.
And I was going to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion you're in a great space right now. I mean, people are paying attention to this, and so getting that in their head quickly, and being sticky on the page is going to help you a lot.
Yeah, now that I'm listening, and I won't take away from the others, I think what I'll do is I'll take the mission, make a space above the butterfly, and put it there so when people land, they'll see that first, and then they'll see the butterfly. Maybe.
Yeah. You could even likely overlap it on top, because I always love messaging on top of imagery tends to have more eyes on it as well.
That's true.
I really like video backgrounds because they do draw you in. So like Tom said, I like the video. It conveys a lot without really being that long. Happy to consult you a little further if you'd like, Harriet. Marco, let's get over to yours real quick. All right, dare to be bold, dare to be vibrant. I'm assuming you're selling the jewelry.
Yeah,
Be a member of our
Kiwami fam.
Wami fam. Okay, I like that you immediately have a call to action. Although at this point I'm not sold yet, so I'm not ready to jump into the email signature.
Okay.
Typically that's kind of a pop-up-ish type of thing. I would worry a little bit of what that looks like on mobile for you, but usually and this is actually a really good comment for Harriet as well. Any kind of business that's selling something that is based on consultancy or that is selling lifestyle, there's always a little bit of a ramp up to getting people into the message. And you don't want to, when you meet somebody at a networking event, you don't immediately say, "Hi, my name's Eric Kinsey, I'm from Vision Friendly. You should do business with me," because it's a little too forward. You've gone on the other direction. So usually I recommend putting these towards the lower 3/4 or below of your homepage. You put your email newsletter feature. If there's benefits to that newsletter, it's really good to put them there. We're going to send promotions and tips and tricks for the industry, or whatever that may be. And you put that 3/4 of the way down, because that way, if somebody's not ready to buy today, they have a way to get on your list and keep you front of mind. And that's what a lot of us do anytime, especially with bigger sales and things that you're going to take some time and mull over. You're not going to make a snap decision. That's a great way to go.
All right, awesome.
So right off the bat, product selections impact our vision. I found myself, especially with this first one, I did not focus on her earring. I did not see it until the second image. So I would go with more imagery that does crop down to just the product line itself.
Okay.
And I don't know any narrative of the reason your products are unique yet. So let's see what we get as we scroll the page. Okay, good product scroller here, and it seems like it's evoking a bit of a lifestyle thing. Enhance the confidence and beauty of people by creating a product that incites impact. It's a good goal.
Thank you.
I would probably, again, put this right up front and center on top of your slideshow.
Okay.
And, people love handmade. That is a really big hook to draw people in. So I'd also put high quality handmade jewelry. I don't know if that was, it's hypoallergenic, which is great. Although I would say that's more of a detail fill after the fact. Handmade, I think is probably got more draw. But that's one where I would test and measure and retest. And you've got the step to date, so I assume these are.
Yeah, that's like the social media. So once you click it, it goes to like our social media.
Perfect. Marco, you might want to look up Snapped, SNNPT, I believe is how the company is framed. They allow you to, anytime somebody tags on Instagram, you can then go in and link that tag back to the product to purchase on your site. So
on Instagram we have it like that. So whenever you're scrolling down and like not in the website because you're already in the website, but like in Instagram when you're scrolling and you see a product, you click on it and it's already like the shop now basically.
Sure. And I believe the way that, and I'm glad to know that you got that down at the bottom.
That's good feedback, Lisa. I'm reading her off the chat.
Gotcha. Marco, it's a great heading image. I really like how much focus and draw that brings in. As a user, I would probably recommend that you put, make these, at least the titles visible without having to roll over them.
Okay.
Especially, I don't know how it works on mobile, but you know, that might be a problem for you on mobile because there is no rollover.
Yeah, on like on the phone they appear like immediately, well automatically they are there. In the website, what we were told while we were designing this is that people draw their attention to the image and they're like, oh, I like this one, so they scroll it and then they see the price. So it's not the first like immediate reaction. They don't select for the price, they select for the image. You know, that's what they told us, but
No,
still like
that's not bad advice. And I was saying put the title in,
okay.
just because. But I do sometimes advise to hide the price until you get to the detail page. That preloader between the screens, though, you can actually lose quite a bit of audience with preloaders like that.
Okay.
You might see if the site could be performance optimized, because right now you can actually see I've got a little performance analyzer here. It's showing this page took 7.1 seconds to load. This is off topic for today, but Google is changing their algorithm this year. Come May, April, we're expecting that Google's putting the marker at 2.5 seconds is what they want us to have our pages load in. And they want Core Web Vitals is the keyword that you ought to search on. It involves how well it loads on mobile devices, and this will impact every SMB's ranking factors. They're putting Core Web Vitals as the top ranking factor now. So I would definitely suggest that you get the site performance optimized. If they can't do that for you, Marco, I can give you a hand on that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that would be amazing.
No, I like a lot of the aspects of your site. The persistent scroll, where I can scroll down the page and it just takes me through multiple images. The fact that I can zoom in on the images, you know, makes me much more likely to buy. You know, you've got pretty intuitive tabs on here and all this. So yeah, you're doing a lot of things right here. And you're talking to the audience. This is also something that is really critical that so many businesses don't do. They say, you know, on a form, they'll say, please fill out the form below and a representative will get back to you right away. You feel like you're talking to an answering machine. And what it really should say is, let's start a conversation. Give us your info and we'll get back to you today. You know, and now you feel like you're talking to a real person. So I like the still indecisive. Make sure you check our guide to find the perfect earrings for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Personally, as a user, I always like to be able to filter. So you're saying people get to the second page a lot. The reason for that is probably because you don't have them broken up. I would say have filters so you can look at just necklaces, just earrings, just bracelets, whatever else you have there. That really is the primary thing I see missing here. Aside from that, Marco, the real thing is how quickly can people get through the cart and purchase. And this looks pretty trim overall. So I think you're in pretty good shape there. Be happy to give you more in a bit here, but let me see if I can jump to the third one that we had on the line for Lisa.
Uh-oh, now I'm nervous.
I'll be gentle.
Can I, Eric, before you start, can I just say now after seeing those two websites, I totally want to work with Harriet and Marco, and probably in 2 minutes, you'll see why.
Okay. So perfect your presence, writing, editing, PR and media, voiceover, spokesmodeling, and event MC. Create a perfect presentation of your business image, contact us. So now as we scroll down, you do PR and media, spokesmodeling and voiceover, writing and editing.
So I feel like the last two websites we just saw and you looked at were very visually beautiful, just captivating. I wanted to start clicking through both of them, but mine is more like informational, no frills. And I feel like that's where I'm probably lacking. It's not as engaging.
And that's part of that stickiness that I mentioned earlier, is that you want something that's going to, you know, make them stay there and look at this. Yeah, and so that, you know, whether it's a good image, you know, or you know, a little video clip or whatever it might happen to be, that's a good point. I think you're thinking along the right lines on that.
I think there
Yep,
is a video on mine somewhere. But yeah, I agree.
And Lisa, I would say that stating the benefit, you know, create a perfect presentation for your business. That is a pretty decent benefit statement. You know, actually, in some respects, you're not doing bad as far as the messaging is concerned here. But I think I'm looking for a little bit more as to the where, the why, and kind of, I think, yes, seeing the still shot of you is nice, but I think if we had like a background video of you emceeing an event, and over top of that, we said, you know, we stated a little bit of the types of businesses you're a good fit for and what you do for them, you know, giving a professional presence for your event to get more excitement and more interaction from your audience. You know, now we're talking about the end result you generate as opposed to just your credentials, because many websites, especially for individuals like yourself, tend to do this. They just talk, it's like a resume. And, you know, what's the first question they ask you when you go for an interview? How can you be an impact to our company?
Sure.
You know,
Okay.
that's what we want to know when we're interviewing, and essentially a website is an interview for you. So you've got a decent resume here. I would just give it a little pop with some more imagery. Video would be even better. You know, I would probably reduce the size of your, I'm not even sure what an SM is, but it took me a minute to,
Service mark instead of
service mark.
trademark.
It took me a minute because it almost read as part of presence, so I visually
Presence and-
stumbled over that.
Right.
Okay.
And what Eric's talking about is, you know, you're providing references and credibility with the things that they see on the website. You know,
Good
so
point.
you know it says, hey, she's done it before, right? This one doesn't say you've done it before; it just says you took a good picture, right? So, well, I'm you know, you know,
Fair enough.
yeah, you know, but to the point, a few clips of you in different settings, etc. You know, it says, hey, you know, she does this, right? It's real.
And you think I should have images of past work and video right there up at the top?
You know, whether you have it or don't have it, it says you have done it.
Okay.
You know, right? That's the message. I think, Eric, you can correct me if you think another direction, but the fact that you have groups that you're on a stage, you know, it says, you know, it's not make believe. She really has done this before.
Okay. All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
And I would say the larger the better. And again, that piece on where you fit in the industry, you know, because public speaking and the PR and media, you have a wide berth of services you offer. So I would probably suggest doing like maybe even a slideshow of different things you do. You know, what are you interested in? Content writing, you know, PR and media, spokesmodeling, or emceeing. You know, each one kind of has its own benefit statement, if you will. And this is one of the more challenging things about good content marketing, is that you kind of need to pick a focus. And that's where that, like, you know, I'm here to deliver better results. And that works for my SEO team. It works for my paid search team. It works for my print graphic designer. It works for my web designer. You know, everybody in our company, that's the driving goal. So I would suggest you try to find kind of what is your core message. And then when you present each one of your services, each one links back to that core. And
Yeah. Thank you.
Would love to help you do so.
Okay.
I will say, I love the fact you have this here. As I was mentioning, chat features get more activity than just about any other method these days. And many businesses I talk to are nervous about engaging them because they say, oh, I don't have anybody to run the chat. It's just like Facebook Messenger. It just comes through your phone. It's not a big deal.
Actually, I've arranged it so that little button, if someone sends me anything, it goes right to my regular email anyway.
Oh, there you go. So I do like the fact that you're the only one here Lisa, who has had to contact us or had a really strong call to action above the fold. Because that is one of the core pieces of my content strategy is you say what you do really well, you say the benefit really well, and then how you get started. And, I think Marco might have had a shop here or something on your slide. I don't recall off the top of my head now, but, I like that that's distinct. It's separated. It draws your eye to it. I would recommend breaking your content up a bit and, probably getting, as Thomas was saying, imagery to match up to each one of the services so that they can understand visually what you do without having to read the paragraph. And down here, you finally get to some of the benefit statements. So
Yeah, I gotta get to
total
that.
completion of projects. I don't know what that means.
It basically means if someone wants to, let's just say, produce a radio spot, I can help them write the content, work with the radio stations on the media side, and I can be their voiceover artist.
Okay,
You're
gotcha.
right, I need a better explanation there.
You're kind of a soup to nuts PR person.
That's right.
Full
Yep.
service PR, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And I do have images. It's way down at the bottom. I've put like a little scrolling slideshow of images, but I definitely can move that so that it's near, like that one, for example, is a television commercial.
There you go.
Definitely move that so it's up with the spokesmodeling stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you run the risk of them not being around long
Not
enough.
getting down there. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha. Yeah, with your site in particular, you're selling yourself. So it really does, there's a whole different attitude and approach to doing so. And you want people to feel warm and comfortable with you as quickly as possible. So I would very much back Thomas's recommendation, not only moving the videos up higher, I would say not only the slideshow up higher, but I would say also video right off the bat if you can.
Okay.
I can give you a couple examples of sites that we've done video for. This is probably one of the most challenging ones my design team has gone after in a while here. They're quite literally selling the least sexy or appealing thing ever. They are selling warehouse space. So with theirs, they came to me and said, we have this giant warehouse that's right next to the train yard. And this is the best feature of any logistics company out there because we're literally right behind it. And I said, give me a drone video showing it in the background. That's what's back here. And so, this site really engages, and we've looked at the statistics when we added the video to this. Our average dwell time on the homepage here went from about 3 to 5 seconds, the typical average, up to around 20 to 30 seconds. So it having video up front and center like Harriet's does, that really does make an impact for you. And those big headlines, don't be afraid to make your text large. It will get read if it's large. You almost need to yell at people. So Premier Warehousing, partner servicing the Midwest. We know where they are, we know what they do, and that they're geared towards partnering. So again, a really effective headline there. Industrial services, fulfillment services, strategically located, improve your supply chain. Every headline here has a important piece to say, and find a location, request a quote, learn more, get started. There's calls to action everywhere. No matter where you are on the site, we want you to have the ability to take the next step. And you'll notice in the bottom corner, there's also a request a quote down here that's ever present. So kind of like Lisa's chat feature or form feature. Really good thing to do. And then, the power of imagery, right? Kind of says a lot right by itself right there. And then to the point that I made for Marco there, you want a site that's conversational and that gives people a sense that you've got their back. And now I've mentioned this to you, you'll start seeing it on all sorts of sites all over the place. And what it used to be that we would try to fit our sites between the fold. We would try to get everything in one presentation. And then over the years, people got all their touch screen devices, and we found that the usability tendencies changed. They went from typically getting the homepage and then clicking through 4 or 5 of the links at the top and just kind of popping through the site, to where now suddenly they are much more likely to scroll. And so you'll oftentimes get them scrolling for 3 to 5 seconds and either going back or digging in deeper. So we obviously want the latter, so that's why we do all this with the content.
So Joyce has been shared her website while you were talking. I don't know if you saw that, Eric.
No, I did not. Thank you. And thank you, Joyce. Let's jump
Thank
right
you,
over.
Joyce. Yeah.
We'll just-
You know, we're doing a lot of the talking. If you guys have questions about this, go ahead and ask them. Because sometimes what we're talking about with Joyce or what we're talking about with Lisa might be something that Harriet could leverage. You know, it just depends on the give and take there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously I can talk about this stuff all day, so please jump in. So Joyce, we've got Avon shop categories on the skin and from within. Transform your skincare routine. It was too fast. I couldn't read it. CBD cooling body royal gel helps ultra nourishing lip balms. So you've got some good messaging here. I would say it's a little too wordy, possibly. There's probably a little bit too much there.
What do you think? Now we're looking at that, gave me an idea. I like, and you tell me if this is typical, that makes sense. When you put the mission or whatever, like right there over the images or the video, is it good to put, whether it's read news stories or to contact us or get more information right there on the video if it's possible?
Yep, absolutely right. Just as Joyce has done here. You know, no matter what you have on the slideshow, you know, you want it to lead somewhere. You want that to be an alternate way. And the core reason, in my opinion, and I could be wrong on this, but I think the core reason a lot of people do that is because I don't want to go up here and have to dig through all of this. You know, that drop down is overwhelming. And that's a lot of reading that I have to do a fairly small text. So the reason that homepages have developed the way that they have is that this is a Cliff Notes version of the rest of your site. And it should showcase a bit from each section and let me browse visually without having to read through that giant navigation. And you know, the big navigations are unavoidable at times, but you know, most people, I think that's part of the reason why they enjoy scrolling as opposed to clicking through the nav like we used to. And that's why sites, as we progressed over the last 12 years or so, keep getting longer and longer and longer because of this. Facebook probably has something to play in that behavior tendency as well. So Joyce, as far as this site is going, I like the slideshow and what it's doing. I can jump straight to a shop feature there. And then I can join the wait list or add to wish list. So of course I clicked on the one that I can't get right now. So the piece that I would put in front of you here for this discussion, though, is I question whether we have enough of a statement on that homepage as to why I want to buy from Avon and from you in particular. You've obviously got great products. You've got some good messaging behind those products. You've got the benefit statements built right in. So there's a lot of things here going very much in the right direction.
I'm going to presume that Avon probably owns the website. Joyce, is that right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to mute myself.
No problem.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, Avon, they usually give the Avon representatives the website, but then you can actually edit some part of it. But I guess some parts of it, for the most part, I mean, it's kind of like directly from Avon. So like some parts, like, you know, like I could put Naperville, Illinois, you know, which is where I am. So
I would definitely say if you can do that, because you know, for search engine purposes, there's very little chance of ranking unless they know where you are. Google tends to rank to do everything by geolocation nowadays. So the more of that information you can provide, the more likely it is when somebody searches for Avon products and Google says, oh, well, they're searching for that and they're in Naperville, I can't guarantee because jewelry is, of course, very, very competitive. I'm sorry, jewelry makeup is very competitive. But having Naperville in there would, you've got your name right there and Naperville Connect with Me. I would basically say putting a message in here to tell people what your specialty is, how you are a guide for them to these products. I mean, that's really the part of the Avon piece here is if it's just products on a website, I don't have the connection back to Joyce. So Joyce, I want to know who you are and how you help your customers, because that I think is the piece that's missing here.
All right. That's a personal connection that you're looking for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks for the input.
No problem. All right, let's see if I can get back to this guy.
Just
Oh
put
yeah,
a
I want to
little
give you guys one
comment
more.
into the chat for Joyce too, FYI.
I want to give you guys one more. We're currently in process with this, so I thought it'd be fun to just show you before and after again. So this is Exacta Land. Let's go ahead and just jump right to their 5-second test. So this is their site. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. So now that's out of the full view. What do you guys think? Is the messaging clear? I
No,
don't think so.
I mean,
It's,
the only
it's a
thing
lot
I
of
read,
information.
yeah, I just read that accurate and professional land survey. That's all I read.
Yeah, I saw like software, I saw land, I saw a lot of things, and I didn't like pay attention to anything really.
So here's the redesign that we're currently in process with.
I like those 3 separate segments there.
That's to talk to each one of their audiences.
That helps a lot.
And every line is benefit driven. National resources with local expertise, filling 100,000 surveys and elevation certificates per year. Lisa, that would actually be a really good benefit statement for you as far as how many things you've done.
Right. That's a reference thing that
Mhm.
gives you credibility. Yeah.
And then we again define visually the audiences that they're speaking to. And then they have software solutions, leading survey industry through better technology, and there's your call to action at the bottom. So yeah, I think we're just at the homepage. We haven't gone beyond that now, but I think that gives you a good idea of how much of a difference that before and after can really make. All right, any questions over any of that?
I like nothing related to this, but I do have a question. What about like social media? For example, like our Instagram is the most like popular platform we have for social media, and we have, I think it's 250 characters that we can use to put in on top of it, and we just don't know like if it's okay what we have, if not, how to get in to like people involved with just such a little text, because they're just scrolling into the photos into like the profile. So I just wanted to like get that question out.
And the question is, how do you better
Yeah,
use
like
250 character? I'm not sure what the question
yeah,
is.
yeah, like so whenever you're just like gonna present something in just one sentence, should it be like the like the for my example, like the quality handmade jewelry, and put that on top, or call to action like shop now, or like dare to be bold, dare to be vibrant? Is that like what, like I get like my question, what's better, or how
One's for
does social
branding, one's
media work?
for direct product sales. And so let's go back to the Apple example. Apple had a hugely successful campaign with their concept of think different, and they'd have a picture of Gandhi there and think different, and there was no reference to computers or any of their products whatsoever. The reason they could do that is just like Nike's just do it. They could do that because you already know the brand. You see the apple with the rainbow on it, you know who they are. Unfortunately, a lot of us in the SMB world don't have that advantage. So for you, I would definitely say I would probably skip over the Be Bold, Be Vibrant, because it's not bad, but that's for once you've got it branded. Right off the bat, I would suggest going for the handmade jewelry with a mission. And even if you don't define what that mission is, that will at least be a hanging tail to draw them in and make them want to know more.
All right, thank you.
So let's just recap real quick. We talked about, having an awesome design. It can be fresh, it can be modern, and it can still be a complete flop. So what you want to evaluate not only on how shiny the site is, but also on the inner core value of the messaging. So conversions are tied to the quality of your marketing narrative, and it's often the biggest indicator of your eventual revenue potential with that site. So what we've covered here is keep it short, simple, listen to your audience, answer all their questions as quickly as you can, and be clear, be direct, be blunt. The website is a place to brag and a place to say how you're the best, because that's what I want to know coming in as your user. I also want to let you guys know that Vision Friendly is running a webinar here, the Friendly Marketing Tip Live, VisionFriendly.com perspective for 2020 versus 2021. This will be headed off by 3 of the directors from our marketing team, and they'll be giving you guys lots of input and feedback on what trends are changing with all the remote access and COVID craziness we've had, and what their prediction expectations are for the coming quarters ahead of us. This is a free webinar. All you need to do to register is go to visionfriendly.com/webinars. And that is just.
Yeah, and I, for one, have signed up for that one, so I'm curious to know what we'll do there. I think from everybody's perspective, we hope you've taken away something from this. This whole issue of the messaging and the what's in it for me, it is, it seems so easy, but it's not, because you have to get inside the client's head, the prospect's head, and you need to be speaking to them, whether it's, what's been put out there in the design or the interaction or the conversation that you're having with people. You got to be very, very clear.
Just like the reason we go to leads groups and we give our 30-second elevator pitch at the beginning of the group every time is specifically to get, you're going to have to test run this. You're going to have to trial and error it until you really find the right niche that gets the most conversions. And, marketing should never be a set it and forget it kind of process. It is a scientific testing process that you need to look into it with.
So any questions or any other thoughts that any of you have? We have a few minutes left. Otherwise, we're getting close to the top of the hour.
I have something quick.
Sure.
I would just, I don't know if Lindsay's still on, but I would just like to say, I kind of feel sorry for the people who went to that interchamber networking thing. They missed out. This is great. Thank you so much.
This is so great. You guys really,
very helpful.
Honestly, it's, practical advice that you just gave to everyone. And I think that is just like so fantastic that you did these little mini consultations. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. Really enjoyed myself. And by all means, guys, feel free to reach out. I can help you more offline if you guys would like.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.